So, good morning, students. We are back to our Merchant of Venice. Act 4, Scene 1, we begin with. We have already completed Act 3, and you know where we are. How Portia decides, along with Nerissa, to go to Venice in order to save Antonio, while their husbands, Bassanio and Graziano, is already there, and both the group, okay, Portia has decided, and so Bassanio do not know these two women have come to Venice. And we have the most important act, that is the trial scene. We are going to the famous trial scene in which Antonio is tried in a Venetian court of law, and the judge, who is the judge? The Duke himself. Who is the Duke himself? He appeals to Shylock from his part to show mercy. And here Bassanio offers double the amount to Shylock, but the Jew does not relent. He does not give up. He becomes so stubborn. He is so obstinate. And here comes our heroine. We already know, it was already in the Act 3, we know Portia has designed some plans and she is in Venice. So Portia, disguised as a lawyer, makes the famous speech on quality of mercy. That is the total sum of this play itself. How merciful we should be. And we are paid in measure as we give. They said, as you sow, so you reap. And how Shylock is being paid back. And then Shylock, everyone is urging Shylock to be merciful towards Antonio, but he does not give up. However, Portia's request too fails to slacken the determination of Shylock, the heartless villain, the stony-hearted man. She then turns the tables on him and allows him to have his pawn on the condition that it should be an exact pound of flesh, and that too without shedding a single drop of blood. That is the climax of the trial scene. And later on, how he changes his decision and what are the conditions laid by Portia, and it follows, okay. So we begin with children. The scene takes place in Venice, a court of justice. Before this extract, the Duke has described the hard-hearted adversary as an inhuman wretch without pity, totally lacking in mercy. And the rigorous cause referred to in this scene is the demand for the pound of flesh from Antonio's body by cruel Shylock the Jew, as the penalty for the forfeiture of the bond. And Antonio is already in great disappointment due to the wreck of his richly laden cargoes. And the merchant is already in loss. And adding to that, due to the what is that penalty for the forfeiture of the bond, Shylock, the villain, remains merciless. And Antonio says that at the end, that no lawful means can save him from his enemy. And then how the things unfold and how it takes to the climax of the play. So here in the scene we have the Duke in the beginning, the Magnifico shows the officials, then Antonio, Bassanio, Graziano, Salerio, and few others more. So we begin with the scene. Duke asks, "What is Antonio here?" So the Duke is inquiring to the others if the culprit, the victim, is already present. Antonio, ready, so please your grace. So he says, he is a very gentle man. So he says, I am here, ready, so please your grace. I am sorry for thee, thou art come to answer a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty from any dram of mercy. Who is this stony adversary, children? Shylock, an inhuman wretch. An inhuman wretch. He cannot be called a human being. He is more with the animal instinct. Okay, so he says he is an inhuman, incapable. Here the word incapable even of mercy, devoid of any tram of mercy means tram here meaning smallest quantity. He does not have even the smallest quantity of mercy in his life, devoid of mercy, incapable of pity, and he is a wretched man. To this Antonio says, I have heard your grace hath taken great pains to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy reach. Now he is telling the rigorous course referred to here is the demand for the pound of flesh by Shylock as the penalty for the forfeiture of the bond. And so, since the Shylock remains obstinate, the word used here is obdurate means obstinate. Shylock, he remains obstinate. Antonio says that no lawful means can save him from his enemy. He is sure that nobody can save him. No lawful means can carry me out of his envy reach. I do oppose my patience to his fury. I do oppose my patience to his fury. I shall suffer his cruelty and anger with patience. And am armed to suffer. Armed means prepared to suffer with the quietness of spirit. I am prepared to face his cruelty and anger with a calm spirit. The very tyranny and rage of his, I am ready to face his tyranny, his anger with the patience. Go on and call the Jew into the court. So Duke says, let Shylock be called in. Salerio, he is ready at the door, he comes, my lord. And so both the parties are there, the court is ready, the judge is ready. One side we have Shylock, the other side Antonio. And you know, Antonio, in favor of Antonio, there are Bassanio, Graziano, Salerio, all his friends. And then we have Portia, we know how she and Nerissa is going to act as the who gives the word, who gives the judgment, who is there to speak for Antonio. Duke, make room and let him stand before our face, Shylock. The world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadst the fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act. So what he says, let Shylock be entered. Shylock, the world think, and I too think about you, that you lead a fashion of the malice. What is that? That you keep on this revengeful spirit. What is the fashion of his malice? He is so always so very revengeful in spirit till the case is in its last stage, till the last hour of act, till the last stage. And then it is thought that you will suddenly show mercy and repentance. And then it's thought, thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse. More strange, it will look so strange than the apparent cruelty. The strangeness of the apparent cruelty that you show, it will be more strange if you show at the end your mercy. And where thou now exact the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh. And you say that you insist, you claim the penalty, namely the pound of flesh from Antonio. thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture. So he says that if you don't act according to the human gentleness and love, we all expect that you will lose this forfeiture. But thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal. Moiety means a portion of the principal, the total amount. What is the total amount, children? The original sum. That is 3,000 decades. Glazing an eye of pity on his losses. At least you should have pity on the losses that Antonio has already faced due to the shipwreck. That how of late so huddled on his back. Enough to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tatars never trained. To offices of tender courtesy, we all expect a gentle answer due. Now he says, the poor man Antonio has already faced great losses due to the shipwreck, and that has put him down a lot, enough to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state. What does he say? To at least show pity of his poor state, of his poor condition. From brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint. Brassy bosom means hearts as hard as brass. You know how hard the brass is. So he compares the heart of Shylock to that hardness of brass. Rough hearts of flints, rough stony hearts. From stubborn Turks and Tatars never trained. So now he says, you are like Turks and Tatars, uncultured and uncivilized, untrained. See, these Turks and Tatars are like some of the races. These are Asiatic races which the Elizabethans believed to be uncivilized, uncouth in their behavior, uncultured, and unlearned. They are not learned people, and so they are uncivilized. And you act now like an inhuman, uncivilized person, having no mercy, having no compassion. We all expect a gentle answer due. We expect from you an answer to all these. Shylock, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose, and by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit my bond. Now what does Shylock says even to all these? He says, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose. I have informed you, Duke, your grace, of my intentions, my plans, and my purpose. And I have decided, I have sworn an oath by the Sabbath, the holy festival of the Jews. Sabbath is the holy festival of the Jews. The Sunday, the Sabbath day, that I will have the full penalty which is incurred by the failure to keep the contract. So, you know what was the contract? Okay, 1 pound of flesh if you fail to pay the sum of money in 3 months of time, and he has failed thoroughly. Antonio has failed thoroughly. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. Now, what is a charter, children? Charter is the document by which Venice was given independence. So we all have got the preamble, the charter. So is with the Venice, city of Venice, it has its own rules and regulations, terms and conditions in their merchandise. And so he says, if you do not follow and if you do not agree to my proposals, that you are denying your own charter and your city's freedom. It is a danger for you. So he is threatening, even threatening the Duke, telling if you go against the law that you are going against your own city's rule. You will ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 tickets. I will not answer that. Even if you ask me the reason for why I stand for the contract, I will not answer. I will not answer. I'll give you no other answer to that except that I please to do so. It is my decision. I please to do so. I will give no other answer. Is that sufficient answer for you? So he says to the Duke, is that sufficient for you? But say, it's my humor. Is it answered? It's my humor here means because I want it. Is it answered? Is it not a sufficient answer? What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it banned? What are you answered yet? Some men there are, love not gaping pig. Some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others, when the bagpipe sings, the nose cannot contain. For affection, mistress of passion, sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Now for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered. Why he cannot abide a gaping pig? Why he a harmless necessary cat? Why he a woolen bagpipe, but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to offend himself being offended? So can I give no reason, nor I will not. More than a lodged hate and a certain loathing, I bear Antonio that I follow thus a losing suit against him. Are you answered? So he is full of revenge and anger, and he is telling that he is pleased to do so and that he doesn't want to change anything. What does it matter if any other person, if my house is troubled by a rat? What are you troubled with? Even if I'm going to be a loser, what troubles you? And I choose to spend 3,000 tickets to have it poisoned. Let it be a loss for me, that 3,000 tickets, let it be a lose for me, but I want a pound of flesh. Although it does not give me any kind of benefit, but I choose to lose that 3,000. But I do not give up the contract. Is that answer satisfactory? And then he asks, there are certain men who have an aversion to a gaping pig and others who fly into a passion at the sight of a cat. So people differ. Okay, there are some who runs after looking at the pig, and there are some who has passion and fly into seeing a cat. So people are different. He says people are different. Other people cannot maintain their usual balance of conduct when they hear the shrill notes of the bagpipe. So each one is different. Some enjoy the bagpipe, some others cannot hear the shrill of the voice. And so I am different. So what he wanted to tell is that he is different. And the personal inclination is the ruler of passion and inclines it towards liking or disliking. Everyone has his own inclination. So the passion, the mistress of passion varies from one to the other. The affection, the passion, and the moods differ from one to the other. Now, is my action satisfy you? As there is no firm reason to be rendered, why he cannot abide a gaping pig? Now he's asking, if this is my answer to you, just there is no definite reason to be rendered why one man cannot endure a gaping pig. And he says, why he a harmless necessary cat? Why he a woolen bagpipe? Why no man cannot endure a gaping pig? And why another man is enraged by a harmless domestic cat, and another by the sound of a wool-covered bagpipe? So I can give no definite reason. So he says, man is different in his passion, in his affection, in his likes and dislikes. And so why should I answer to you? Why do I go for this contract, the bond? So can I give no reason, nor I will not. So he says he is determined and obstinate, so stubborn that he says, I don't want to give you an answer. More than a lodged hate, certain loathing I bear Antonio. More than a lodged hate means I have got a deeply rooted hate. A deeply rooted hate. Loathing is hatred. A deeply rooted hatred and a definite loathing of Antonio. And therefore, I pursue this unprofitable suit against him. Unprofitable. He is a losing suit against him. 3,000 decades he is going to be a loser. But he is ready for that. He is ready for that. And he says, now is that sufficient answer for you? This is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. So to this Bassanio, he becomes so impatient and he says, this is not at all a satisfactory answer at all. Thou unfeeling man, you are an unfeeling man, to excuse the cruelty of your action, to excuse the current of your cruelty, the cruelty of your action. Shylock, I am not bound to please thee with my answer. I am not bound. I have no obligation, no responsibility to please you, to give an answer that pleases you. Bassanio, do all men kill the things they do not love? So to this Bassanio asks, we know that you do not love Antonio, you have an ancient hatred against Antonio, but is there men who always kill the ones whom they don't love? Okay, so everyone is furious in the court. Everyone is furious in the court. I think we'll continue with the next of it because it's already almost some 20 to 25 minutes. And so the next pages from Shylock, there is a conversation between Shylock, Bassanio and Antonio in the coming scene, and the Duke interfere in it. So we'll continue. It's a little lengthy. It's very, very important act, a very, very important scene. And so it takes some time. So we stop here up to the verses, 65, 70. Okay. So go through it. Try to understand the happenings in the scene. How Shylock is answering to the Duke's suggestion that he expects a gentle answer from him. But Shylock says that he will not give an exact reason. He goes on to state that he has undivided whims like other men. If his house is infested with rats, he may spend 10,000 tickets to have them poisoned. There are people who cannot tolerate the sight of an open-mouthed roasted pig, the sight of a cat, or the stream of a bagpipe. In all this, there is no definite reason for hating these things, and it is determined by a strong whim or mood which can overpower any reason. And then he is not someone who is ready to relent. So for affection and loss, he says that personal inclination is the ruler of any emotion. For affection, okay, the lines, children, the 50th verse, okay, for affection, mistress of passion, sways it to the mood. What does it mean? Because of personal inclination is the ruler of any emotion, any passion, and it directs our emotion. It directs a passion to liking or disliking something. So he is defending himself by speaking some of the truth. His answers are very justifiable by way Shylock is presenting, but he does not have a mercy at all. He is devoid of mercy and pitiless. And then Bassanio reacts, how Bassanio speaks to Shylock by calling him a hard hearted creature. He further says that his answer is no excuse for his merciless action. And the scene becomes quite tense when Shylock ignores all the attempts to persuade him to give up his bond. The scene becomes so very tense. It does not relent. Even when Bassanio offers him in the coming, this one you will come to know, Bassanio offers him 10 times the amount for which Antonio is in default. And the scene attains the highest tension when Shylock becomes ready with a knife and waiting scale to cut a pound of Antonio's flesh. And so we stop here, children, but at the same time, go through it. How much you can read. Go through the text. Go through the workbook explanations so better you understand. Take the text and read once, twice, thrice. Try to understand. The notes are given behind your text. So any doubts, you can also give me a message. I will try to explain to you. Okay, all the best, children. God bless you.